So, before we get going, I think it's only fair, since I've talked about this movie pretty much with every step of the way we've gotten in its marketing, including talking about the last trailer, that I should talk about the new Joker trailer that came out today. And first and foremost, gonna put it right up there on Front Street. I really like this trailer. I shockingly do. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's probably not what you're expecting it to be. And I think the trailer, I mean, even look at this poster. Like, look at this. This is what you want out of a Joker movie. Just this weird, scary clown just dancing, having a ball, happy to be him against the sort of grungy, boring city that he thinks it's his job to liberate and just get everyone to see the happier side of life. It's just such a good poster. But moving into the trailer, what I like about this trailer, the two things I like most, is that it, first and foremost, it separates itself from the Scorsese image, because one of the things I didn't like about the last trailer is very much paced to feel like this is King of Comedy, this is Taxi Driver, this is every other movie about a down and out of his luck guy who goes crazy and goes psycho. That is what that trailer felt like, and that it was what it was embodying. I'm not saying it was a bad trailer, but that was the feeling it was going for. This trailer, on the other hand, it's got, and it brings me to my second thing I like about this trailer, it's got the big bombastic music, he's dancing around in the costume, he's happy, he's laughing, he's having the time of his life, because Arthur Fleck is this socially awkward, never fit in, never was quite right, always on the sour stick in life, always looking up and being pissed off at the people who had it better than him guy. And now he gets his chance to finally show the world what he's made of and show it all what he can really do. The thing I like about that, though, is what sort of separates it from the other examples I brought up before is the trailer is sort of put together to look almost like it's the hero's rising story. That Joker isn't the villain of this movie. He's not this scary, murdering lunatic. The trailer is sort of framed as he's the underdog you want to root for, because he's got the generic stuff. He's getting beat up. He's got a crappy job. His life isn't going well. And then he finds something that allows him to build himself up and become a better person. It just so happens that we, the audience, know that that is him becoming a horrible monster, and it kind of makes it scary, because when it's framed from the perspective of he thinks he's just doing what he should be doing and he's doing something that makes him feel happy, it makes it feel scarier, because it makes it feel like we could go down that road. A lot of us do feel out and out in life, and we do get depressed, and we do feel like there's no hope. But obviously we don't go out and become a murdering clown, but he probably thought he'd never be a murdering clown either, and that's sort of what's scary. And I love the way these trailers are sort of building up him becoming the Joker. Like, yeah, that's the point of the movie, but you don't see him doing the crazy one-liners or the goofy puns or the, like, mass murdering or mass shooting. We're just kind of showing the moments leading up to it. Like, spoilers for Dark Knight Returns and potential spoilers for this movie. I think everyone who cares has heard about this iconic Joker moment. But it looks like, and this is where Robert De Niro's talk show comes into play, it looks like at some point in the movie he's going to go up there on that stage, and just like he did in Dark Knight Returns, when he also went on a talk show host stage, he's just going to fill that audience with bullets. Like, that's going to be the moment where he finally sticks it to the man, and he finally proves that Arthur Fleck is worth something as the Joker. And just stuff like that the trailer symbolizes, just the build-up to what's going to happen, I think is kind of a very interesting marketing trick, because you can keep the sort of crazy R-rated moments out there, but also still get the audience curious. Now, all in all, am I super excited for this movie? Still no. Not really. I don't think anything at this point is going to show me why I needed this Joker movie or why I should be excited for this Joker movie, apart from seeing the Joker movie for myself. And fortunately, we don't have that long to wait, and even though a lot of the plot's been figured out, I am glad they're not overly throwing it out there in the marketing. So that's good. So all in all, that's the Joker trailer. And now moving on to Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, we have a duel that is made so much better, surprisingly, by knowing the show's almost over. I know that might sound weird, but the thing is that if I knew going into this episode that we had 7 more months to go, I'd be like, it's whatever, because we'd still have more to do with these characters. But knowing that we don't, it makes it feel more like a completed arc. And I think it actually wraps it up together pretty nicely, considering I didn't like one of these characters. No, but just the way the whole thing picks up with the rain and the facility. And one nice touch I like is, you see it more on Soulburner, but you get there with Revolver at the end. I like seeing the two of them tattered. I like seeing them beaten and like feeling like they're looking and feeling like they're about to collapse. Like, it's such a good metaphor for just these characters in general. Everything these people have gone throughout the course of the show, and just that idea that this is just what it does to them. Like for Soulburner, losing his parents, losing Flame. For Revolver, having to grow up with this guilt of what his father did and then losing his father on top of it. And obviously you spread this to the other characters too. It's this kind of idea that everyone is just carrying these burdens, and everything they've done throughout the show is just to find ways to lift them. And that's what this duel kind of felt like it was sort of showing. And I really liked Soulburner's kind of outburst. I love his, and yeah, it's kind of cliche at this point to make that the last thing I ever said to my parents was something mean. But what I like is he doesn't remember. I like that idea that whatever it was something petty, or maybe it was important. That's left up for the audience to think of. And I like that idea that he spent so much time struggling to remember, struggling to figure out what the last thing his parents said to him, and he just can't. And they do a good job of showing how that tortured him, like just going his whole life without it. Props to the actor, because Soulburner's actor gives it 110% and really makes you feel for him and everything he's gone through. And it's a very clever, it's actually a very emotional scene, and I know a lot of people who go through loss can sort of understand that. But then you also have Revolver's angle to it. First up, I like the idea that we get Revolver's like personal ideology about like faith and how you treat those you've lost. We don't normally get that with Yu-Gi-Oh! Rivals. Like, a lot of times, whatever their metaphor is usually relating to the balance of power or opposition to the protagonist or something along those lines. This is something Revolver just believes. It's something he thinks, it's something he's gone through life probably contemplating, and it's his own conclusion. It's just a nice character moment, like giving someone that extra level of depth is to be like, this is what I think of the afterlife. And the fact that it's to Soulburner, and it's this idea that this is also him wanting forgiveness. He wants to be able to actually help an individual person who was hurt by this whole thing. And I think that's what ultimately this whole thing was about. Like, I think he wanted Soulburner to beat him. I think he wanted for him and Yusaku to prove that they can handle this final mission. And I think that he wanted to kind of help the guy. He says at the beginning of the episode that you'll be trapped here forever. And he kind of, every line he says in this episode has this weight to it. Like this feeling like this is something he's thought a lot about. And this is finally his time to do something about it. To finally help a guy. To finally just do the right thing for somebody. And it's treated as such. It's just like, nothing he says to Soulburner is going to have this big impact on the world, but that's the point. It's just about helping this one guy out with this one problem only Revolver can fix. And the way he does it is good too, sort of pointing out that Soulburner needs to move on. And bringing Flame back for a few seconds to have that, that's a nice bit, like Soulburner accepting it, but kind of accepting it in his own way. Kind of like, in his head, he needs to feel like he can let this person go. He needs to feel like that person understands and that that person forgives him. And that's kind of what that little visualization is. It's him finally feeling like he can let go. It's him finally feeling like he can move on in person. And when the sun comes out and he makes his final turn where he draws 4 cards and takes out the structure deck cover card, I'm not going to lie. Again, considering it's a character I don't like and probably never will, I like that idea that his arc all came together and it had the visual metaphor. I talked in yesterday's video about Vrains ending about how these never-ending shonens have trouble maintaining animation budget and quality, and that is always going to be true, but in Yu-Gi-Oh's case, when they come up with a good idea and they let themselves execute it, they really make it work, and I thought it worked here. And I love on Revolver when his stuff comes off, all his armor, as A, it keeps the theme going, but also B, I just kind of like the way it looks like the mask is finally off. He doesn't have to be Revolver anymore. He was able to get through and help somebody and be productive. And that final shot of just his normal face under his weird microwave cover dish mask is, I think, a nice final way to end the episode. And I think it really worked. Also, it was good seeing my boy Borlode Savage one last time. So, yeah. So that was this episode. Give me your thoughts on the Joker trailer on this episode. I know I talked probably a bit more about the Joker trailer than people were expecting. Maybe not as much about this episode. But, well, I kind of talked a lot about these themes last week, too. So, yeah, there's that. So, anyways, all that below. And as for the TCG question of the week, Megatins. They're here. These are arguably the most controversial Megatins because they cut Savage Strike. There's only one of them. They once again dropped the theme because I want my Yuma and my Yuya tin, damn it. But ultimately, do you still think it's worth buying? Do you think you will still get it to get those sweet alternate arts, those sweet new staple cards, which actually are really good cards? Or do you just want to see if you get some cool prismatic secret rares? Because I'll probably buy my one. But let's be real here, Megatin profit comes from the people who buy case after case after case, and it's a little hard to tell with these ones how that's ultimately going to work out. So, yeah, talk about all that below. And as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and join me next week for the ultimate final duel, where I still haven't decided if I'm going to be rooting for Yusaku or Ai.